If you've never seen an Apalachicola oyster fresh out of the water, this is it. They clean up nicely, don't they? The bay is open for wild oyster harvest for the first time in 5 years. We head down for a look and a taste.
How many Apalachicola oysters did you actually get here?
90 boxes last week, sold out in a day and a half.
I figure, this is a little short runs, so it ain't gonna last long. Probably by the end of next week.
The oystermen have run out their individual limits for the most part. It's longer than I expected it to last. I thought it would only last maybe a week, so we're very thankful it's lasted as long as it has.
It's amazing. We have been getting so much busier because those oysters, and people are calling all day, are y'all serving the wild caught oysters? So it's amazing, to have that coming back here. And I hope it's here to stay for a while.
That, my friend, is oystering.
The oyster fishery crashed in 2012, and for years it did not improve. The state closed the bay in 2020 to give oysters 5 years to grow without harvest pressure.
This is what it look like when they come up. Them closing it, I didn't really agree with it, but it closed itself because when you can't catch nothing, they don't nobody come out and work it. But the bottom had just disintegrated. There wasn't nothing out here on the bottom. You couldn't even pick up nothing. The last time I come out in 17, I worked about 4 hours and caught 15 pounds of oysters. That ain't even what that right there is. The oyster's just gone. So I just quit. I come over here and started cleaning houses for my wife. And look, you see them little rocks they're growing on?
Yeah.
That's what they planted out here.
The bay bottom had lost a lot of its substrate, hard surfaces such as intact oyster reefs, where larval oysters could land. Florida State University tested a few options to determine which substrate would best host oysters, and found that small limestone rocks worked better than loose oyster shells.
Where they planted these rocks out here, now that's what we work in. You see that buoy right there? And there's one over there and there's back over here. Anyway, this is the area we can work. This is East Hole. Everybody that applied got 31 of them tags, and that's all you can catch for 2 month period.
The strict limits are intended to give the oyster population a chance to continue to grow.
The laws now don't allow the same thing. Used to you can go down there and buy them off the boat. Now they got to go through a certified oyster house, and it's all the license they have to go through. And
they got it pretty restricted, regulated. Yeah. And on top of that, you have to log them in. You're supposed to do it on your smartphone. But my smartphone too smart for me and it don't work, so I do it on pencil and paper and take a picture of it, send it to her, and she said that's fine as long as I report it. There's a lot of difference between last time oysters was this thick was probably 1980, 79 and 80. And back then, Cap Point, there were probably 450 of these boats just over on that area over there.
Oystermen have had to find new jobs in recent years. The strict bag limit and short season keep oystering from being a primary source of income.
But oystering is in their blood. They'll trade a good start of week's work for a couple of days oystering.
I'm 68 now. Yeah, my daddy had me out there when I was 6 years old. This is what I've done for a living all my life. Besides drive a truck. It's in your blood. It's in your blood, that's what you do. I love this. Just as soon as my tags is up and everybody that's working with me tags is up, then I'm done. I'm gonna have to go back to doing handyman work again until October.
My personal preference would have been that they left it closed for another 5 or so years to let the populations become a little bit less vulnerable. But I think from a cultural perspective for Apalachicola and the communities there, I think it's important for this fishery to reopen before so long has passed that they reach a point of no return with there being the oystermen retired, their boats have gone away, they can't get tongs anymore. So I think it's important for the community, and I think if it's managed properly, then it'll be okay, but it's very vulnerable right now.
This oyster harvest season ends on February 28th.
though, as we've seen, many of the license holders have already collected their allotment. The bay will open again from October through February 2027, leaving the bay closed when oysters are spawning. Sandra Brook tells us that FWC will only allow the harvest of 10% of the oysters in the bay. We have more from her about the new regulations, oyster reef restoration, and the science of oysters at wfsu.org/ecologyblog. We also have a wealth of stories about the Apalachicola River and Bay system, including a couple of stories currently in the works. For WFSU, I'm Rob Diaz de Villegas.